According to Ricardo Lazo in 2011, public administration as viewed by many was nothing more than the context of the political role of the government towards its people. The services it offered, with minimal attention as to how these things are carried out by its different institutions. That is why there is a cloud of doubt, an atmosphere of confusion, a feeling of uncertainty from vagueness as to how these provisions are served, transactions executed, and services provided, all with little regard and assessment for accountability, responsiveness, and accessibility to the general public. Thus, the concern translates to passivity that public service be good governance. Many years have passed. Western countries have undergone major transformations as their governments try to respond to the challenges of technological change, globalization, and international competitiveness. Public sector governance was put on the spotlight to ensure that goods are produced and services provided in the most efficient manner possible. Now, there have been a paradigm shift in the management of the public sector from the traditional model of public service to managerialism or public management, which is not simply a matter of reform or a minor change in supervision style, but rather a change in the role of government in society and the relationship between government and citizenry, thereby improving efficiency and effectiveness by combining management practices with the logic of change while still retaining the core public service values. Thus, public service is good governance. Now I present to you some songs from the band The Ones. Here we have Hindi Tayo Pwede.
Pilit nating iniwasan ganitong mga tanungan, at kahit di sigurado, tinuloy natin ang ating ugnayan. Ngayon'y naubos ng kwentuhan, nagsimula ng magsisihan. Lahat ay parang lumabo, di alam kung saan tutungo.
Sabi ko na nga ba, dapat nung una pa lamang, di na umasa, di naniwala, hindi tayo pwede. Inagtagpo, pero di
Pilit natin
tinitana.
iwasan ganitong mga tanungan at kahit hindi sigurado, tinuloy natin ang ating ugnayan. Of course, we have hugot line. Akala mo mahal ka niya, kaya linawin mo kung ano ba talaga. Kasi baka pinapasaya ka niya kasi alam niyang mahal mo siya. Now here, we have the outline of ideas. First, between the two terms, good governance, good is the thing that needs a little bit more explanation. Why? Because good is vague, meaning it's not clearly expressed, or unknown, undescribed, or even undecided. All these characteristics are from dictionary.cambridge.org. However, governance demands details. So, good governance transcends from the abstract to specifics, or we have now the standards. These standards are set by academicians, multi-level assessment bodies or entities, experts, and professionals for good governance. Standards can comprise a broad variety of aspects, according to Fomin and Debris in 2008, stating a reference, defining requirements, providing guidance, and setting goals. Now, public administration is a broad spectrum of combinations of practice and theory attuned to the needs and aspirations of society, cultivating a greater understanding of the relationship between government and the general public through managerial practices directed at effectiveness, efficiency, and sensitivity to the people's innermost needs. according to Dutoit et al. In 1997. Now we have core values, which describe the standards by which we characterize a person, profession, or organization. Here are the 5 core values of public administration. Transparency. This is to ensure citizens the availability of information which is deemed public. Accountability. To adhere to a standard of professionalism in the workplace, reminding individuals that while they are employed by a professional organization, they will be held liable for their actions. Work ethics. This calls for administrators to display integrity and be mindful of laws and regulations. Professionalism. An important core value when considering the prestigious nature of our positions in the field of government service. Leadership. To set an example of professionalism for staff members and possessing the motivation to achieve organizational goals. Now, throughout the 20th century, the study and practice of public administration was essentially pragmatic and normative, rather than theoretical and value-free. This may explain why public administration, unlike some social sciences, developed without much concern about an encompassing theory. Not until the mid-20th century and the dissemination of the German sociologist Max Weber's theory of bureaucracy was there much interest in a theory of public administration. According to Woodrow Wilson, the father of public administration is the detailed and systematic application of law. Every particular application of it is an act of administration. According to Encyclopedia Britannica, which defines public administration, it is the application of a policy of a state through its government. Therefore, public administration refers to the management and activities of the government. Administration is a part and parcel of our daily life. The food we eat, the clothes we wear, the goods we buy, the streets and highways on which we travel, the automobiles in which we ride, and the many services in which we enjoy, such as education, healthcare, housing, and many others, are made possible by administration. Thus, governance is everywhere with us from womb to tomb. The lives of the people are closely connected with the management of the government. It is a complex process which involves different things and a lot of activities. Human beings are living in accordance with the policies and activities done by the administrators. Administration as an activity is as old as the society itself. It appears to bear at least 4 different meanings or different senses depending upon the context in which it is used. As a discipline, it is taught and studied in colleges and universities. As a vocation, the type of work or trade or profession or occupation, especially one that involves knowledge and training in a branch of advanced learning. As a process, it is the sum total of activities undertaken to implement public policy or policies to produce some services or goods. As an executive, a person in supreme charge of affairs, for example, Narendra Modi of India, Xi Jinping of China, and Donald Trump, the previous president of the United States. Next is from the song Umaga.
Huwag kang bibitaw, huwag kang aayaw. Hayaan mo lilipas din ang gabing ito. Huwag mawawala, ngiti sa iyong mukha. Matatapos din itong panahong kay gulo.
Huwag mong iisipin, lagi na lang ganito magulo. Lahat ay gagawin ko para sa'yo, sa huli ay tayo. Darating din ang umaga, umaga.
Huwag kang bibitaw, huwag kang aayaw. Hayaan mo, lilipas din ang gabing ito. Lahat ay gagawin ko, darating din ang umaga, umagang puno ng pag-asa. Hinding-hindi ka nag-iisa. Followed by the hugot line. Alam mo ba ang salitang pagmamahal? Di ko yan pinag-aralan, pero sa'yo ko lang natutunan. There are two views regarding public administration which are as follows: the integral view and the managerial view. The first one covers all the acts of officials of government, from the attendant to the secretaries of the government and head of the state, all constituting public administration. Thus, the activities of the errand boy, the foreman, the gatekeeper, the sweeper, as well as the IT professionals, the secretary to the government, and the managers in an enterprise constitute administration. It counts the work of all persons from the lowest to the highest positions working in an organization. Henry Fayol and Leonard D. White are the supporters of this view. According to White, public administration consists of all those operations having for their purpose the fulfillment or the enforcement of public policy. Now, this definition covers a multitude of particular operations in many fields: the delivery of a letter, the sale of public land, the negotiation of a treaty, the award of compensation to an injured workman, the quarantine of a sick child, the removal of litter from a park, manufacturing plutonium, and licensing the use of atomic energy. All are broad views of administration. On the other hand, the managerial view considers the management activities of people who are involved in planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling, all constituting the work of those persons engaged in performing top brass functions. This view regards things are getting done and not doing things. Managerial view excludes public administration from non-managerial activities such as manual, clerical, and technical activities. The integral view includes all the activities of all these persons, from manual to managerial, technical to non-technical, who are engaged in administration, while the managerial view restricts itself only to the management activities of the few persons at the top. The difference between the two views relates to the difference between management and operation, or we may say between getting things done and doing things. Next is the Philippine Administrative System, or PAS, as an enabling and functioning institution. In response to the call of participatory and collective governance, PAS is anchored on the following assumptions. The state and the public bureaucracy, or the PAS, exist only for and because of the people. To be able to serve the people well, there must be a conscious and continuous effort by members of the bureaucracy to know, understand, respect, and empathize with the public. And the bureaucracy in executing laws and implementing programs can work with and learn from the public or the community they serve. This is according to Maria Concepcion Alfiler in 2008 from PJPA. Now, PAS source of power. First, it is the machinery through which the functions and the authority of the government are exercised nationwide. PAS enacts the laws and implements other public policies. It utilizes its authority, structure, and resources to produce specific services for specific groups of clients. It gets to know the actual situations where practical problems may arise. PAS accumulated technical expertise over time as it deals with the myriad and complex issues the government must address. The public bureaucracy has an expansive reach, mobilized resources, and support for its programs from all over the country. The role of public administrator is to bring people to the table, and to serve citizens in a manner that recognizes the multiple complex layers of responsibility, ethics, and accountability. This is according to Harun Khan in 2008. Now, there are 5 themes of public administration: administrative management, decentralization and local administration, national development and development administration, administration reform and accountability, and social reform. This is according to Danilo Reyes in 1995 as cited by Eleazar Ricote in 2008. Now we have evolving concerns of public administration. Development administration and related areas. We have the examples: Geographic Information System Administration and Local Development Innovations and Models. Next, we have environmental issues and challenges such as Millennium Development Goals, Sustainable Development Goals, among others. Globalization issues and challenges such as regularization, regulation, and competition. And peace consolidation, we have citizen participation. All these are from Le Divina Carino in 2007 as cited by Eleazar Ricote in 2008. The song Binibini sa MRT goes,
Nandito naman ako, nasa tabi mo. Huwag mag-alala, dahil sasaluhin kita. Sasaluhin kita.
Nandito naman ako sa tabi mo, huwag mag-alala, dahil sasaluhin kita. Then, the hugot line, ano ang role ng mga single? Tagapayo ng mga kaibigang taken. Legal and moral foundations of public administration. The 1987 Philippine Constitution under Section 27 of Article 2 provides a leading declaration that the state shall maintain honesty and integrity in public service. Civil servants should aspire to such public purpose, public interest, and public service rather than selfish interests, to keep the civil service efficient, competent, and accountable. In the 1987 Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines under Article 11, titled Accountability of Public Officers, Section 1, public office is a public trust. Public officers and employees must at all times be accountable to the people, serve them with utmost responsibility, integrity, loyalty, and efficiency, act with patriotism and justice, and lead modest lives. Now, this sets the legal framework of accountability of public officials, primarily predicated that the declaration is public office is a public trust. Now, there is also the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards in 1989, the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices of 1960, the Administrative Code of 1987, Article 212 of the Revised Penal Law, the Anti-Red Tape Act of 2007, and the Moral Recovery Program. Now, public office is not a property on which one can claim jurisdiction, but it is a position of trust to render service upon which one shall display integrity, efficiency, and patriotism. Now, a public office has the following characteristics. It is a public trust. It is not a vested right. It is not a property. And it cannot be inherited. A public office is the right and authority duly created and conferred by law, by which for a given period, either fixed by a legislation or enduring at a pleasure of the creating power, to be exercised by him for the benefit of the public. Now, these legal guidelines and frameworks are enforced by a specific procedure for dealing with government misconduct and other violations. I give to you their song, Prom.
Halika na, hawakan ang aking kamay at sabay maglakbay. Iwanan na, kalimutan na ang mga problema at sakit na iyong nadarama. Sumasayaw ka sa ulap, damhin ang hangin, ang ihip na nagsisilbing himig natin.
Halika na, hawakan ang aking kamay at sabay maglakbay. Iwanan na, kalimutan ang mga problema at sakit na iyong nadarama. Then, the hugot line, stay safe, lagi kong naririnig. Kapag emergency, lalo ngayong may COVID. Pero ba't ganun? Nung tayo pa, safe ka sa akin ah. Pero bakit di ka nagstay? In 2004, the Social Weather Station or SWS released a survey study on the perception of the Filipinos on the main forms of corruption in the country. We have general bravery or gift-giving, diversion of budget away from projects, no transparency in public bidding, overpricing procurement, doing substandard projects, underreporting of tax collection, tax and tariff evasion, pork barrel fund, and cronyism. The report identified the most number of corruption complaints received by the Office of the Ombudsman. We have Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH, DENR, Department of Education, Bureau of Customs or Philippine Ports Authority, National Irrigation Administration, Bureau of Internal Revenue, Department of Health, and the Department of Interior and Local Government.
Di mo na kailangang ulit-ulitin pa, dahil kabisado na ang mga letra. Di mo na kailangang ipangalandakan mga dahilan kung bakit nagkalabuan.
Okay, next is Siramplaka. Di mo na kailangang ulit-ulitin pa dahil kabisado na ang mga letra. Di mo na kailangang ipaglandakan mga dahilan kung bakit nagkalabuan. The hugot line is malabo. Minsan, signal ng cable ng TV. Madalas na may usapan. Pwede ring mga mata, pero ba't ganun? Sure ako, ikaw din eh.
The world is accelerating. The science fiction of yesterday is rapidly becoming the science fiction of right now. How do we withstand the tectonic shifts in the world around us? How does a society thrive when the world economy is undergoing constant disruption? How do we continue to learn when information is moving at the speed of light? There are places that are ahead of the curve, cities building the tools for tomorrow.
We want to create innovations that have a real-world impact.
One day, Singapore can be self-sustained in food production.
We are looking at the development of Singapore 40 years ahead of time.
This city could be a model for what's to come. This is the city of the future, Singapore. How can the cities of today grow and thrive to become the places we want to live in tomorrow? Creating sustainable, manageable human spaces in the world's ever-expanding cities is a challenge facing governments to come.
We have very sophisticated computer models that help the architect planner to improve the environmental quality in the town. So for example, Singapore is in the tropics, so we want to encourage the breezes to come through. Through computer simulation, you can actually position the blocks and the public spaces and the parks in such a way that help you to achieve this.
I'm very much an urban person. The city is close to my heart, and even more so having worked in detail on the plans over the last 20 over years.
For Andrew and the URA, sometimes that work means creating land from nothing, a process known as land reclamation. Since independence in 1965, Singapore has used reclamation to increase its land mass by about 23%. Making.
When I first started work with URA, Marina Bay was just a vacant tract of land. It was only maybe 10 to 15 years ago that we actively started development of the area.
Andrew was part of the team that drew up the plan for Marina Bay and translated it into reality. Its development dramatically increased the footprint of Singapore, but it was designed with the needs of its citizens in mind.
The traditional central business district just comprises of office space, then is only used 9 to 5 days a week. So as we've planned Marina Bay, we've also looked to bring in complementary uses. So the idea is you create a mixed-use precinct that the activities carry on 24/7 and 7 days a week.
To make the round-the-clock Marina Bay model work, the URA needed infrastructure. In land-scarce Singapore, that meant going underground, using precision-designed layers of essential services, including water and electrical tunnels, pedestrian and commercial spaces, transportation infrastructure like highways and subways, and even telecommunication superhighways. These hidden underground systems have been designed to meet the needs of Singapore for the next 50 years. Now,
think about creating structures over roads, over motorways, topping up above existing structures. The rooftops today might be sky courts, sky gardens of recreation.
if cities expand upwards into the skies, conventional methods of road transportation may no longer be effective. Perhaps the future of urban transportation will play a major part in shaping the way we live.
And then all of a sudden you're going to need to think about how to get people up there. You know, if you were to fast forward 50 years from now, we already see drone technology becoming so advanced. Why are we not sticking people into those drones? Again, a bit like Blade Runner. All of a sudden, your sky courts, your sky gardens, even your private terraces to your condo is actually a landing platform for your own personalized drone.
Right now, 93% of produce is imported into Singapore, and that's because there just simply isn't enough land to do farming practices.
Benjamin Swan came to Singapore as an engineer on the Marina Bay Sands project. But having fallen in love with the city, he recognized a challenge and an opportunity to help the nation towards its goal of food sustainability. Ben is developing a new way to grow food, not just in Singapore, but in any urban environment.
Sustainera is a controlled environment agriculture farm. We effectively replicate what's happening outside in nature to grow impossible products in impossible places. Singapore is a trailblazer in this technology, having opened the world's first commercial vertical farm in 2012. Now Sustainera, through their patented processes, are able to grow produce indoors, without sunlight and without soil.
So what do I propose? I give to you the concept of pamahayan. The core of the concept of pamahayan is formed underneath the Nipa hut written in Alibata or Baybayin, which is a pre-Spanish writing system. It translates as pa for pamahalaang, ma, matuwid, ha, handog, saba, yan. The concept of pamahayan lies at the heart of any administration. Pamahayan as a whole in Filipino implies to instill, to remain, to exist, to inhabit, and to dwell. Etymologically, it means pamamahala, to manage, administer, supervise. Matuwid, righteousness, proper, truthness. Handog, provide, give, offer. Bayan, which is the general public, people, community. Pamahayan is defined as a native Filipino philosophy and practice of leadership, management, and governance rooted on sacred values, and heroic traditions which, if fully recovered, appreciated, and lived by many, is the key to national and possibly global unity.
Mag-isa at walang makasama, nag-aabang kung sino man ang kakausap, nagtatanong kung bakit nga ba nandito. Paglingon ikaw agad ang nakita, di maiwasan na ikaw ay titigan, nag-iisip kung paano lalapit sa'yo. Hindi na malayan, bigla na lang nagkatabi at nagtawanan sa isang iglap na kayayaan. Sumayaw, kasabay ang masaya na tutugan, itaas ang kamay at sabay magtatalunan. Ikaw at ako parang atin ang mundo, atin ang mundo.
From the words of Peter Parker in Spider-Man 3, whatever comes our way, whatever battle we have raging inside us, we always have a choice. It is the choices that make us who we are, and we can always choose to do what is right.